Welcome to Liberty Today. Find out why Sam Kephart sees South Dakota as a lifeboat amidst stormy seas, how he gives a homily on balancing a budget, and from our Politics Make Strange Bedfellows department, Gordon finds agreement with liberal blogger Corey Heidelberger, who is on our set. All this and more on today's Liberty Today.
There are plenty of problems to go around in this country, but Sam Kephart and I have been talking, and Sam, I'd like to ask you, what do you think is South Dakota's biggest problem? And then we'll talk about what might be the solution.
From my perspective, if I was the governor of the state, and I'm not,
would you like to be?
I've considered it on occasion, but I'm that carpetbagger. So it's not going to happen. I'm a carpetbagger.
Send those contributions, and we'll get Sam on the ballot.
I think the biggest issue, from an umbrella standpoint, and there's obviously many, I see the country precariously close to having some kind of financial collapse, and it has always been my clear vision for South Dakota, and is one of the main reasons I moved here over 10 years ago. I see South Dakota as having the possibility of being a lifeboat that pushes away from the Titanic with a handful of the survivors, because we have food that we can grow in this state, both meat and crops. We have energy. We don't have the societal problems and the huge welfare system that a lot of the larger cities do: Chicago, Minneapolis, San Diego, New York, Philadelphia, Miami. I would like to see us have a plan B, and there is no plan B, because I asked both Governor Dugard separately and Rounds when he was governor. I said, do we have like a plan if things really go to hell in a handbasket where we can become our own lifeboat? And they said, no, we haven't done that type of contingency planning, and I think it's unfortunate.
And right now, something in the neighborhood of 50% of the South Dakota budget, that's $2 billion with a B, comes from the federal government.
Right.
So half of our state budget comes from the federal government, and when that check bounces or doesn't come, there's no plan B.
Right. And that's a huge problem. But the one advantage we have over, say, a California or a New York or some larger state is when the money stops and the welfare checks stop, when you have a high enough concentration of people that are drawing on that welfare, they're going to riot. I don't think we're in a position here that that's likely to happen.
Well, but most of the population
societal
in South Dakota
unrest
is at opposite ends of the state,
right.
Sioux Falls and Rapid City. And how would you propose in that kind of a crisis to deliver the necessary goods and services, particularly food, from the rural areas to those two cities where most of the people live?
That's why I think we need to have a plan. You don't have to spend a lot of money. You bring some people together and say, okay, God forbid the country goes off a cliff or Wall Street collapses, which, by the way, when this last collapse happened, which I predicted that in writing and on video, that the derivatives would cause a Wall Street collapse, and it happened a few months later.
Yes, and if you're interested in the next prediction, send $29.95 and Sam will send you
a personalized account of what I think is coming.
Advice on where to be in the stock market.
Yeah. But here's the reality. When that problem happened in Wall Street, it ripples to Main Street in South Dakota, and the credit lines might not have been there for the farmers and the ranchers to put down their money for their seeds or whatever it is to make the investment for the next year's harvest. And there is no plan B in place in this state right now.
So, with the ability to produce food, grains and beef and poultry and
right,
pork,
milk and
now in an economic crisis, that shuts off the cash supply. So how do these folks in ag produce what they have been producing for decades?
That's why I would like to see the establishment of a state bank like North Dakota has, and have one here in South Dakota. We need some sort of alternative financial brokerage or barter system that would kick in, some way for an exchange of value, whether it's financial or commodity based or gold based, but some structure that there's a trip switch, kind of like when your electricity goes out at the house and your standby generator comes on, where they have that switch that does that. We need a switch like that for our economic system in the state, and nothing is being, it's like everyone's blindly going along thinking everything in Washington is going to be okay, and it's not.
Reminds me a little bit of your Thelma and Louise speech. Thanks for watching us today.